talking with the critical incident response team. You know, you drive down the highway, you see the message boards and see how far ahead and more traffic fatalities we have this year than last year. And, you know, talking about which counties, which roads, you know, the story's still yet to play out with this investigation as to what happened. Bill Miller gave a good description, and it's pretty accurate. And there are several things we can talk about later that, as far as the investigation and what's being done, what more needs to be done, and where we go from there. But now is the time really to, like I say, help these families heal, help the ones that lost loved ones grieve, and heal the ones that are injured. Pray for the boy that's in surgery at Erlanger right now. And but just a terrible situation. But thank y'all for being here.
Any questions? Yes.
Yes, Travis Cummings with Channel 3. Can you tell us the name of the utility company that was involved?
I believe, yes, sir, it was Service Electric. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. You know, we're about a month out from the horrific school bus crash that took the lives of 6 people. I know that means something to this community, that means something to the Tennessee Valley. Can you just talk a little bit about, you know, how relevant this is, and, you know, how we're almost to Thanksgiving, and, you know, how relevant this is to this time and to the people of this community?
Yes, that's a very good question. If you didn't hear the question, he asked about how significant this crash is during this time of year, since this community has experienced such a tragic history with bus fatalities, school bus fatalities. There's not a morning or day goes by that I do not think about traffic fatalities. There's not a day that I don't leave my home and kiss my own children, hug my wife, and try to remember how their shampoo smelled, how they felt in my arms as I leave that door. None of us are exempt from a horrific traffic crash that could take our life or someone else's life. It's by pure grace of God that we travel these roads every day, and we're not a victim. We send our children out on school buses, and we pray that they're going to be safe, and they are for the most part until something like tonight happened. The school bus was traveling in its lane, children were in their seats, a driver lost control of the vehicle. You can't plan for that. You can't mitigate or train. Tonight, a vehicle crossed directly in front of a school bus. That driver had no opportunity to avoid this crash. Tonight, there's a family that is grieving and hurting. Tonight, there's a family, multiple families, that memories and scars have been ripped apart from what happened to them in this past crash, where 6 children were killed in that crash that you referenced. These events are never easy. I've been doing this job for almost 24 years. They're never easy. Anytime a law enforcement officer walks up on a door to knock on that door to tell someone in that home that their world has come to a scratching halt, to a tragic end at that point in time, their world, their life has changed and will never be the same. I challenge everyone who sees this video, whoever sees this live feed, hug your children, love your family, embrace every moment that you have with them. Traffic fatalities are on the rise in a year where they should not be. We've been in a quarantine due to a pandemic. Drivers have to drive under the rules of the road. They have to drive under control. They have to drive respectfully and with courtesy for other motorists. Occupants must buckle their seatbelts while they're riding in someone else's car. Drivers must buckle their seatbelts. You must not drink and drive. You must not drive any kind of way that's going to possibly inflict harm or place somebody else's life in danger. Again tonight, this crash that happened here in this county, it's ripped scars off of the memories of what families have gone through in the past. And we pray for these families. We pray for the families in the past. We pray for the growing number of traffic fatalities in our state. These families are not going to have their loved ones home with them for Halloween. These families are not going to have their loved ones home for Thanksgiving or Christmas, birthdays, weddings, special events, college graduations, high school, elementary, any kind of a significant event that we can imagine. We have a responsibility as drivers to take that vehicle as serious as we would take a loaded weapon in our hands. That vehicle is more dangerous in many ways than a loaded weapon. That vehicle can harm more people in a blink of an eye than we could ever imagine. So I hope it answers your question in a long-term way, but traffic crashes they're not something that just happens to somebody else. A traffic crash that takes your life or someone else's life can happen to any one of us. It does not discriminate. It does not care if you are rich, if you are poor. It does not care what color skin you are, what country you come from. It does not matter, because it does not discriminate in any fashion. So I just stress to you tonight, hug your loved ones, say a prayer for this family, these families, and just say a thank you prayer for, by the grace of God, you're home with yours tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I have one more quick question about
For myself, or
the driver of the electric company. Do we have any status on his condition at this time?
that I do not. The driver, I don't have. I do know he's not. The driver is not deceased of the service electric vehicle. The driver is being treated, I think, for minor injuries. I don't know to the extent of what those injuries are.
Thank you.
Did the school bus have any seatbelts?
Pardon me, I didn't hear you.
Did the school bus have any seatbelts?
The young lady asked if the school bus had any seatbelts. At this time, ma'am, I'm really not prepared to address that. I don't know. I personally did not look inside the school bus. The damage, and you'll see what I'm talking about when we release these pictures on the at THP Chattanooga District Twitter account. That's the local district Twitter for this district. You'll see that the bus is extremely damaged, so I did not attempt to get inside to see that. So I apologize. I cannot address if the bus did or did not have seatbelts.
Do we have a time for the wreck itself and the accident?
The time, well, you said a key word that we don't refer to, accident. This was a crash. This is a very horrific crash, and I'm not trying to be rude. An accident is when you accidentally knock something off the table and you break a glass. You pour bleach into your laundry instead of adding detergent. This is a crash. A crash is something that you as a driver, we as drivers, are supposed to be prepared for to prevent. This is a fatal crash, and that's the sadness about this. The time of the crash will all be released in the preliminary report. We should have that redacted tonight and have that released. Everyone who has emailed us, we will make sure that you get that out tonight and have that as soon as possible.
Could the driver face any charges?
That's all under investigation, ma'am. That's part of the ongoing process. We'll have to work with the district attorney's office and look at the evidence, and that'll all be determined at the appropriate time.
But it's possible.
I can't say if it's possible or not. It's an ongoing investigation, and currently, if there are criminal violations, then we could look at that, obviously. But to say possibly or maybe, that's be speculating, and we can't say that. The facts will determine what happens as we move forward. Okay. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, no, not your fault. We're in the middle of it.